All right. Hello, everyone. We are here today. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I am Myrna Lane Hippolyte, your friendly neighborhood financial wellness and wealth coach. And I really help empower, high achieving women and help them turn their amazing income into wealth by investing in the stock market. But today we have a special guest with us, Kerrina O'Connor, and she is going to talk to us about a very, very important conversation. Yes, if you got some issues, you owe the IRS. Now what do you do? Ooh, the IRS, that's like a chill down my spine. I'm like, ooh, no, we don't want that. So Karina is a true tax expert. And she works with businesses and individuals who might be stuck, have this issue. And we're going to talk about real world problems today when it comes to the IRS. But before we do that, Kerrina, welcome to this platform. Thank you for being here. And why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thank you, Myrna, for allowing me to come on the platform. So my name is Kerrina O'Connor. I'm the owner and founder of Cake Financial. And what we do is help six-figure solopreneurs resolve their IRS problems so they can run their business with confidence. What that typically includes is people who haven't done any back taxes. So if you haven't filed for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years, you need to come talk to me. Or if you have a tax debt that you cannot pay in full, that is those are the people that I typically help.
Oh, wow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well,
Years.
those people are out there, so there's no
They are.
judgment here. You
None.
sometimes get caught up and you don't get it done. So let me ask you a broad question to begin.
Okay.
What's the most common IRS problem that you see these solopreneurs people have and they come to you with? What's the most common problem?
I think it's the shift from being a W-2 worker to now being their own boss. And then, oh, I don't get a refund. So that is
Yeah, that's a big shift.
that is a huge shift right there. I think that's what's not common. They're not realizing, understanding they now have to pay self-employment tax, and they should be paying it throughout the year, just like their W-2, but they're not. So they're going to get that huge tax bill at the end of the year. So that is the most common problem I'm seeing is I didn't get my refund.
Yeah, that's a shift, I think, in mind when you have a business versus a W-2 and what essentially happens there. And there's so many, I mean, this is a good timely session, right? Because
Yes.
business taxes, you got to do that. And there's so many requirements when it comes to businesses. You got to keep the books. Make sure if you don't keep your books, at least have a bookkeeper and do it on time, people, because the IRS will charge you for just
March 16th. Yes, March 16th is the deadline. S corps, my S corps and my partnerships. March 16th is the deadline. You have to do that tax return first before you can do your personal.
Yes. So what kinds of warning signs like should people be paying attention to before these issues kind of escalate? Because sometimes you just, go about your business and you don't see the warning signs and things that you could have been doing that would prevent you from being in this situation.
Oh, that's good. I think exactly what you're talking about, Myrna, was the bookkeeping. If you don't know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out, you don't know how much profit you have. And on the profit is what you pay taxes on. So and I know people don't want to, I've typically what happens, like, especially if I'm dealing with people with back taxes, something triggers it. Like maybe they need to buy a home or they need a loan or they need an SBA grant, something along the lines triggers it. And they're now like, oh, this bookkeeping thing is important. I actually need to do it now. So it's not having your ducks in a row as far as bookkeeping, because that will let you know how much estimated taxes you should be paying on a quarterly basis as well. So you don't have a huge, huge tax bill. Or things that are also common is if, say, for example, you say you lost your job and you have to take out your 401k and you're not 59 and a half yet. You now have to pay tax on that, tax and a penalty on the amount of money that you took from your retirement. but that money brings you up into another like income bracket. So that also will create a tax bill as well. So just little things like that are the most common.
So I know it can be traumatizing. I mean, whenever I see the envelope from the IRS, I'm like, oh Lord, what's happening? So let's say you're that person, right? And you've just received this notice. You know, you
Yes.
get that envelope with the little, logo,
The little
IRS,
emblem.
that little emblem, and you receive the notice from the IRS. Maybe
Yes.
it's an audit letter
Yes.
or a demand for payment saying that you owe them.
Right.
What is the first thing that you should do?
Open the letter. You'll be surprised how many people don't open. I am not joking. Open the letter. They will put that letter to the side. Oh, I'll deal with that later. Because they assume they know what's coming. Oh, it must be a tax bill. Not always. Not always. Sometimes the IRS is just letting you know maybe you got a IP pin, which is an identity theft, whatever you applied, and they're letting you know, hey, we successfully got your IP pin. But most people automatically think, oh, it's something bad. Let me not. I'm going to deal with it later. So let me put it to the side. Open that letter, review it. You're going to see the type of notice it says, the date that the tax year it was for, and the amount that you may owe. Or if they're not saying, maybe they said that they made a change to your tax return. Read the letter. That's I know that sounds like read the letter.
It's
Do you
important.
agree with
Is
it?
panic ever helpful? Is it ever helpful to panic?
Never. Did you?
No.
Yeah, like determine like, is this something that is correct? Maybe the IRS, just like us, are human and they're dealing more with AI and all of that too. So these computers can make a mistake. Read it. Does it make sense? Is it correct? Do you agree? And if you don't agree, there's typically steps, and they have the steps on the form of what you should do next. Because if you don't agree and you just leave it up and the time runs out, now you're basically saying, oh, I agree with what the IRS is saying. I owe X, Y, and Z amount, even when you think you do not.
Mhm. Well, IRS issues can be really stressful for clients. Money issues can be stressful, I've seen. So, what are some of the psychological or emotional type issues that you see people going through when they're trying to deal with the IRS and rectifying a situation with the taxes?
Oh, I think one of them is I'm the only one. Like, they feel like I am the only one that's going through this. And then I think number two, or maybe neck and neck, would be, how did I get here? So many people, so many of my clients are like, oh, I've been doing my business for however many years, and I can't believe I let this get this bad. But I want to let you know it is so common. I actually just did a video recently with me and my colleague, and we were even talking about how the people who are on the other side of the phone of the IRS, they are also taxpayers. They also, a lot of them have a tax bill. Like so the very people that you may be on the phone with and you're
If you
discussing
get on the phone, it could take you like an hour, over an hour to get a person.
It can take like 3. I've been on the phone call and then they hang up on me.
Wow.
It happens to us too. Like, we have a special line for professionals, but it happens to us too. They will hang up. You got to get back into the queue and you're on the phone for 3+ hours. It sucks. But even those people, I want it to be clear that this is not something that is only you. This is a common issue. Approximately 1 in 50 people have a tax problem with the IRS, period. And then I'm not even dealing with states. I don't know, there's different states and all of that. And even though in South Florida, we don't have state tax, we do have Florida Department of Revenue, and people owe them as well. So it's common. I'm trying to make sure that you guys know that it's not just you. It's not just you.
Talk to us a little bit about the distinction, because we have people on the line who are W-2 professionals, people who have a job, right? And who, for some reason or another, just didn't file their taxes. Maybe they didn't have a tax professional. Maybe they didn't feel like buying TurboTax that year. whatever it may be, right? They had an issue. So to me, I think there's a distinction between that person, right, who just didn't do their taxes and now has a backlog versus the business owner who's making a profit on their business and didn't realize that they were supposed to be paying estimated taxes on a quarterly basis. So talking about how should each individual deal with their different situations?
That's good. So for like the W-2 earners, usually if they have any tax problems and issues, it's stemming from a lack of withholding. So if you're owing after you have a W-2 job and that is that's your only source of income, let me be clear, because there's other sources. If that's your only source of income and you keep getting a tax bill at the end of the year, you need to check your withholding. Especially for my dual job owners, you have multiple jobs. From a withholding perspective, your two jobs don't know about each other. So you're going to have to adjust your W-4 for both jobs to make sure that you're taking out enough. Because if you're making $100,000 in job A and $50,000 in job B, you're now in a different tax bracket. But the jobs for job A is thinking you only got 50, and the job for job B is thinking you only have 100,000. So it is a withholding issue. And if it's a situation, if you don't know what in the world that is, that is the amount that you're telling your employer how much tax you want to take out. Hey, employer, I'm single, I have a dependent, I have whatever. Please take out this amount for me so that the W-4s are now, they're trying to kind of break you even so you don't have that much to pay or that much refund. So for those people who have a tax bill, your situation is a little bit easier, or a tax problem where you haven't filed in a while. File your taxes. Stop running from it. Especially if, say, you were entitled to a refund. The IRS only goes back 3 years for that refund. Yeah.
Really? Oh my God. I did not know that.
They want all their money.
Yeah. So if you go further back and you owe them, they want the money, but they won't pay you.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you know what I'm saying? There's a little sense of urgency here. You please go ahead and file your taxes as soon as possible, because you could be missing out on money that you don't even know just because you just haven't filed.
Right.
We don't know. So for the business owner now, for them, it's not a withholding issue. It's just they're not paying enough in the estimated taxes. So the first thing that they should do is try to get current. If they have payroll and all of those issues, that needs to be resolved as soon as possible as well. So if they have an employee, or if they are the employee, that needs to be resolved very quickly, because the IRS has something called a trust fund payment penalty, and that one is very serious. I'm not trying to stress it. Yes, I am. I'm trying to stress it.
Why are you trying to stress this?
I'm trying. No, I gotta just say how important it is. They're a lot more lenient with like income tax. Not paying the income tax is a lot more lenient than trust fund, which is payroll tax. So if you have a payroll tax issue, you need to get in front of somebody as soon as possible, because they're quicker on it. So for them to go ahead, and if you want to do your taxes yourself, you can. But my philosophy is, if you haven't done it for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years, you're not going to do it. Ask for a tax professional to help you. You've done your job well, so well that you have a profit and you're making money. Great. Leave it to a tax professional to help you out. So file your taxes at least 6 years back. The reason being is because, especially if you have a tax bill, you have to be current and compliant in order to get that tax bill, get into some type of payment plan. So if you haven't done at least 6 years, the IRS won't even give you a payment plan at all. So get current 6 years back, see what's going on, see what's missing. And if you need a professional to help you see what's missing because you have no idea, that's fine. Get that professional, file your taxes, and then work out a payment plan with the IRS.
So what are some of the mistakes people make when they're trying to deal with the IRS on their own? Because sometimes you got a professional that can help you. I think that could expedite the process. But sometimes people just deal with it on their own.
Oh, yes. Not knowing what they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. As well as like I've been saying not everyone on the IRS side knows everything. We've gone through a lot of shifts and a lot of changes where they laid off quite a few of their workforce. And then a lot of their workforce that has the knowledge base is retiring. So they're losing that knowledge, and they're trying to catch people up now. I just read recently that they're having customer service agents who are in customer service, and that's what they do, start to do tax examinations for the returns. Why during tax season? Like, it's already chaotic. You know what I'm saying? The point of the matter is that people are being stretched thin, and sometimes they don't know the laws as well as you would think that they would. So dealing with a tax person by themselves and dealing with the IRS by themselves, you don't necessarily know all the laws. Do you know what the process and the procedure is for a first-time penalty abatement is? Do you know what that is? Did you know that you can get your some of your penalties removed? And for whatever reason, that's something that you should lean on with a tax professional.
Perfect. Now let's talk about solution. So if somebody owes taxes, but they just can't pay, right, in full, what are some of the options that are available, and how do the programs work?
Yes. So one option, there's a pay in full. If you can't pay in full, there's an installment agreement, basically a streamlined installment agreement. That's why I said you have to have at least your 6 years up to compliance, like your tax returns up to compliant, and you'll be able to pay off the full amount, but within 36 to 72 months. So that's 3 to 6 years. So you just pay it in incremental payments. Another one is a partial payment plan. So instead of paying the full bill, you're only paying a portion of the bill. Understand that the IRS is going to ask for, they're going to get in your business. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get in your business in order to get that partial payment plan. There is a currently not collectible. This is like a freeze. It's just a hold for a couple of years or so until you get on your feet. So for those people who are, maybe you lost your job and you're working on getting another place and another place of employment, then this would be good for you to just kind of put it on a pause, because you're able to make the money back later on. But right now you just don't have the money. So they put it on a freeze for about a year or two. They'll re-up and ask you again about this currently not collectible. So it's like a freeze. And then there's offer and compromise. People love this one because this one is the pennies on the dollar. Basically you get your large balance for slim to nothing. Like you're paying that balance over a few years as well, but for pennies, like they said, pennies on the dollar, for a lot less. The problem with that offer and compromise, as though it's the one that people love to talk about, but most people
Sounds good to me.
Most people are not qualified for it. You have to be down and out. I would say about 97% of people do not qualify for that. You have to be down and out, where the IRS will look at your age. They will look at your assets. If you have a home equity and all of those things that equal more than your bill, you will not be able to get that offer and compromise, because the IRS will say, oh, you can get that asset some way, somehow, to pay us.
Now, I've been reading more about this whole concept of wage garnishment. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So wage garnishment, it takes a while to get there, which is why I say you need to open your letters. Before the IRS does anything, they send you a letter first. They will let you know, hey, the first time, hey, I'm sending you a letter to say that you owe a balance. Second letter, hey, I sent you a letter in case you didn't see that first one, that please pay me. Third time, hey, maybe you didn't see those first 2 times. So even with wage garnishment, the IRS has up to 90% where they can garnish your wages. So this includes employee wages. So they can send a letter to your boss, to your employer, and it'll automatically come out of ADP. You will not see that money first. Same thing with your banks. They can send that money. They can send that letter to your banks. So any money that comes in, shoot, gone. And it's up to, I think, about 80 to 90% that they can take. But they let you know beforehand, hey, if you don't reply by this date, we will levy your accounts.
Wow, that's brutal.
It is, but it does take a while to get there. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm
Open
saying?
those letters, y'all. Open those letters. So, Kerrina, tell us, how do you work with people, and how can people work with you? If they have, can they come to you for just getting their regular taxes done, or do they need to have a problem like getting caught up? Talk to us about how they can work with you.
Of course. So I do, like, even though my main focus is, tax problems, I also want you to, once you're out of tax problems, I want you to be okay and never get back to those tax problems ever again. So I do traditional tax preparation, and I also do bookkeeping as well to help you know how much profit and estimated taxes you could do, and tax planning. So this is the proactive part. So you will never have that bill again. You're never surprised. You're like, okay, we plan, we reduce it as much as possible, estimated taxes are paid on time, you're good.
Tax
And you
planning.
guys can book a link. Oh, well, I don't know where my link is, but I also have an office number, 954-761-5253.
We'll put those in the links, 954-761-5253.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So tax planning is a very important part of your wealth management. And you guys know that I talk about investing and how important that is. But as part of your overall plan, you want to preserve your money, right? And having the right tax strategy is an important part of preserving your money and knowing what your plan is for the future. When you retire, if you have a 401k versus a Roth 401k, the tax treatment is different, right? It's different in terms of a pre-tax vehicle versus an after-tax vehicle. So you have to know. And to the extent that you owe the IRS, they're going to charge you all kinds of interest, and you don't want that. That's going to take away from money that you could be using to save, to invest for your family. It's just not worth it. Resolving the issues now before they turn into mushroom into like 4 or 5 years of back taxes that you owe. Solve the issue now and get the help of a professional like Kerrina if you are in a position where you cannot do it yourself, or you have more complicated issues that you deal with. The IRS doesn't have to be threatening. It's just that you have to take care of paying those taxes, because Uncle Sam will get his money one way or the other. Well, thank you, Kerrina, for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it, especially as business taxes are going to be due promptly, and personal taxes are also going to be due. So if anybody needs assistance, Kerrina is available in terms of tax preparation. And if you have those IRS issues, guys, please come to the table and contact Kerrina. Thank you so much, Kerrina. We appreciate you being with us. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
I appreciate it. Night.